Good morning, welcome along. How are you doing? Just finishing my cup of tea. I just realised that the clock in the lounge is slow. So here I am, a couple of minutes late, I do apologise. Welcome. This is your early 8 AM movement snack. So at least I can race out the door and get to work. Just squeezing another quick sip of my tea. So welcome along. This is our 8 AM movement snack, shifted forward to 6:45. Hi to Mrs. P who's joining us. Sorry I'm a couple of minutes late. I'm just explaining that my clock here is slow, and I'm looking at that thinking, oh, I've got a couple of seconds left. Look, so a quick sip of my tea, get myself set up, and then when I pick my phone up to do it, it said it's actually gone past 2:15, so apologies for that. Here I am anyway. Welcome aboard. Bit of an overcast day today, but it's supposed to be sunny, so we'll see what happens. If it turns out sunny, then the whole day is going to change for me as far as clients are concerned, as far as patients are concerned, because we might not do what we do with them. So, yeah, we'll see what the day brings. I might spend the whole day doing admin. That'd be good. I could catch up on a few things. But hey, this is our 8 AM movement snack, as I say, come forward. So it's all about mobilisation. It's about boosting the circulation initially, then mobilising those individual areas of the body. Areas of the body that we will use throughout the whole of the day. So, good morning to you, Christine. Windy where you are. There's a bluish sky breaking through, a bit overcast, a bit dull at the moment, but we are supposed to be getting temperatures of around 30, so we'll see what happens, eh? Right, I'm going to get going with my whoosh whoosh ping. So let me lose the comments on the bottom of the screen, and I'll catch up with everybody later on. We'll go with a oh, good morning everybody, welcome along. You're with myself, Dave Montgomery from Later Life Training. It is Tuesday, it is the 5th of September, I think it's December then, September 2023. This is your early morning movement snack, so 8 AM movement snack for you, but a bit earlier. As always, we have a choice whether we're doing it standing or seated, and we've got our fixed external support and our strong, sturdy chair. Now, make sure that you've got space around you, nothing that's in your way. You can do this in your socks or your bare feet, as long as you're on carpet, but otherwise, sensible, comfortable footwear. Let's start by getting our posture sorted. So in standing, heels are in line with knees, knees are in line with hips. In seated, it's exactly the same. We need to remember just in standing to soften those knees a little bit. And then exactly the same in seated as standing. Lift and separate to get this extra bit of space between your ribs and your hips. Shoulders coming up, back and pressing down, so we've opened that rib cage. Neck lengthened, and then from there we can start with our circulation boosting. Heels lifting off the floor to get a bit of mobility, starting into those ankles there. And then from here, we can make the movement a bit bigger by bringing the feet off the floor. Not a huge amount, just enough to start to get some movement happening. And this is about getting the movement bigger to increase the intensity. Now we can add an arm in as well, and if we are using support standing, then the other hand is on support, whether that be in front or to the side. If we're not using support and in seated, we can change hands as we wish. In standing with support, just to make sure the hand comes down on the opposite side before the other one comes off. Now, if your support is to the side, that's going to mean a little bit different for you, unless you have support on the other side. If that's not the case, then what you do is you lose the arm on the one side, make the march a little bit smaller again, and take as many steps as you need to turn into support. Both hands come onto that support as you face it, and then as you carry on around, you take the other hand off, and then away you go again on the other side. Finally, in seated and in standing, if we're not using support, then both arms, both legs, driving through, getting that movement happening. And we're looking for around about 2 to 3 minutes of this activity, just enough to get the heart beating a little bit faster, might get us breathing a little bit heavier, and possibly feeling a little bit warmer. And that's what we want. That's what it's all about. It's getting this body into a situation where we're asking it to do a little bit more than just sit there. Boosting that blood circulation around the body, warming the joints, mobilising those joints a little bit, and warming and getting the muscles working as well. Now, as we come up to that 2 minutes, 3 minutes as a max, start to bring it down. So loose the arms, make the march a little bit smaller, bring it back down into a heel raise, and then into a pause. At which point, you might want to take a couple of deep breaths. Let's start with our head and shoulders, our top trio. So, base and support, heels in line with knees, knees in line with hips. Standing tall, the movement is to lift the shoulders up towards the ears and then press them back down past where we started. Now, as I come sideways, look, you can see that I'm taking it straight up, straight down, and from the front, I'm keeping that neck lengthened, and we're making the shoulders come up to the ears, not the ears down to the shoulders. Now, once you've done your 4 or 5, pause, and let's take it into a rotation. So forward, up, back together past our earlobe, shoulder blades together at the back, and then press down. So we get this cyclical motion happening, rolling it around. And again, you want 4 or 5 of those. Slow and controlled, so we get every part of the shoulder moving. Once you've done your 4 or 5, have a pause, and let's take it into our head turn. So here we're keeping the neck lengthened, we're keeping the eye line level as we turn the head to the side. We come back and pause in the centre, and then we take it the other way. And all the time, think about how many times we use those shoulders and we use this neck during the day. How many times do we reach away from the body to do something, whether it be picking up or even just getting your toothbrush to do your teeth, yeah? And how many times do we turn our head during the day? Loads. So this is why we're going to mobilise through that area. Not only just safety things like crossing the road, but also just talking to somebody or looking to pick something up. You know, it might even be reading a book, you might move your head slightly across. Just all those times when we do it. 4 or 5 each way, and I say focus on that head staying level. Now, we take it into the back of the neck here, and I'll come down so you can see what we're doing. It's this part that we're going to lengthen through. Fingers are going to come on chin as a guide, just to help us keep that eye line level. As we draw back, and then come forward. So we either use the fingers on the chin, or we leave them where they are as a guide to where we started and where we're going to stop. But if they stay on the chin, it is just that guide to make sure your eye line stays level. We're not pressing back. We want the head to do all of the movement. And you're looking for 4 or 5 of those, lengthening down through that neck into the top part of our spine. Once you're doing 4 or 5, have a pause, back into a reboost of our circulation. 30 seconds only, and it's the bottom half, that's all. Now we're going to move from this head and shoulders area into our trunk area. And here it's all about reaching down, twisting and turning. So things like seat belts, rolling over in bed, reaching down to a lower shelf, all those sorts of activities where we include and we activate this part of our body. But it's active all the time. If we're standing, if we're sitting, as long as we're not actually leaning right back against that chair, this part of our body's switched on, it's working, it's supporting this upper part of our body. So getting it mobilised and giving it a bit of an awakening is a really great thing to do. Now, as you come to your 30 seconds, let's bring that down to a pause. And we're going to do exactly the same seated as we are in standing. We're going to set that base wide. So heels outside of our hips in line with our shoulders. In seated, I want you to think as your bottom as your feet. It stays firmly on the chair as your feet stay firmly on the floor as we reach down to the side, straight down, up, pausing and then take it the other way. Changing your hands in front every time. If the hands are in front, if they're to the side, then you come across to that side, back into the centre, and you do 4 or 5 on that side before you change. In seated, as I say, your bottom stays firmly on the chair as you reach down and back up. By keeping the bottom on the chair, by keeping the feet on the floor, we make this a lengthen through the opposite side of the body and a reach rather than a lean. If we just to shift all that weight across and allow the foot to come up off the floor slightly, or allow the bottom to lift, then what we're actually doing is just leaning. We don't want to do that. We want to lengthen through this side of the body so we get that range of motion into there. 4 or 5 each side, using your legs or the legs of the chair as a guide, so long as those legs of the chair are straight. If they're coming forward or backwards, then don't. Yeah, try and get the best range of motion that you can. And once you've done your 4 or 5, have a little pause and let's take it into this trunk twist. So from here, bottom firmly on the chair again and seated. Let's have a look at it there firstly. As I turn to the side, come back in and pause in the centre before I take it the other way. It's all about keeping the hips still. So in standing, you need to focus on that. Make sure your knees stay soft because that will help as you turn and change. Now, exactly the same in standing as it was before. So you change hands every time. If it's to the front, if it's to the side, they all go to the one side and then you take as many steps to turn. How about using your support like a chair, in as much as place it against your bottom or place it against your hips. Now you're going to get that sensory input as to whether you've got movement into the hips. And we don't want that. We want the hips to stay still. We want all the movement into this trunk area. 4 or 5 each way, trying to get that best range of motion. Once you've done that, let's take it into our lower back. So standing tall, sitting tall. Again, it's about your pelvis staying still this time. So Seated wise, you've got that sensory input. So again, in standing, you might want to use your support to tell you. As we lift the chest and extend, and we get this movement into our lower back. What we're avoiding is this. That's going to move our pelvis, so we don't lean. So in seated, you can quite clearly see, and in standing, if you use your support, you'll get this input. As I lift and then extend back, I can feel the weight is even across my bottom and the top part of my thighs. And if I actually lean, what's going to happen is that weight is going to go more into the bottom. I'm going to feel if I've got movement into that pelvis. So again, standing, you might want to use that. We're extending through this lower back, so any lower back pain this is really going to help with. Now once you've done 4 or 5 of those, take a pause and we're back into a reboost of our circulation. We did bottom half last time, so let's do top half this time. Driving the elbows backwards, getting a big rotational movement going through those arms. And you might want to make it a little bit bigger so you can get a bit of rotation through that chest as well if you want to. Again, it's just 30 seconds. Now if you're seated and you're not looking to come to standing, this is the opportunity to now go over one of the trunk movements or one of the head and shoulder movements again. Otherwise we move forward and we take it down into our ankle, feet and toes, our final trio. And here we're thinking about how that ankle reacts to the floor below us. So if we can keep it mobile, we've got better ability to react to changes in the floor beneath our feet to help us stay steady and stable. Come into that 30 seconds, bring it down and into a pause. Let's have a look at it in standing firstly. So in standing, the leg that's not moving, the knee stays soft. The other foot, we put the toes on the floor and then we lift and put the heel in exactly the same place. Eye line to the front. There, toes pointing, scrunch them as you come on over and then splay them as you take the heel down to the floor. 4 or 5 on one side and then turn into the other side to do that. Seated, we can do that same movement, we just need to adjust the feet and the legs to give us that extra space. Toe and heel. Splay, scrunch, point, yeah? Or take a movement back into the chair. Extend the one foot away in front, just lift it off the floor slightly. Point the toes away there and then you can scrunch them. Bring them in towards the shin and here you can splay those toes. So we've got this scrunch and we've got this splay. Now, we've got the foot off the floor about 1 inch or 2 inches, so if you need to, pop it down after every one or every couple, give it a rest and certainly don't allow it to come up here. It's not about strength, it's about getting that mobility into the ankle. Once you've done 4 or 5 on one side, reset onto the other and away you go. The point and the flex. Good, strong movement through there. 4 or 5 on each side is what you're looking for, and then we are done. From there, we can finish off by just taking a few steps forward and backwards, just to have that heel through to toe motion. That is your 8 AM movement snack for this Tuesday morning. Now, tomorrow I'll be with you at 8 AM for a change. So I'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and breezy at 8 AM. Otherwise, now have a great day. Stay active, stay mobile, keep grow barring, keep up with calcium Bex as well, and I'll see you tomorrow. Toodles, everyone.